Hi everyone, my name's Jack. Welcome back to the Red Path for episode 21 of WAAC Weekly, the show where we look at Team Red Path news as well as worldies out in the world. This week, normal service has been resumed, 323 games played, back up to a 54% win rate with some strong performances at big events, including the London Open, Super Major in the UK, and six RTT event wins. Now that we're a week out from Easter, we've once again had a load of games, 323 from 90 players. So 26 GTs and then also 64 RTTs. So normal service well and truly resumed. In terms of the rankings, Liam Werdick remains top of the leaderboard on 642. Not too many events recently for him, but I know there's quite a few coming up in the UK now. Calvin Smith has jumped in second place with 639, having filled out all four of his event slots. Charlie Quinn's 618, still seeing a retention of third place. Then Antonius Tolman in fourth with 605, and Diego Peter on fifth on 592. In terms of the TRP, so Gem Hammer's now gone up for Jamie, and that means he's jumped massively up into ninth place on the overall worldies rankings. He's filled out his 4 events now, and he's on 463 OTC points. Worth noting that one of those was pre-new book, so it was at the LVO. It was one of the RTTs at the LVO. Dara is still in. He's been bumped a bit into 31st with 3 events and 332 points. Same goes for him. One of his event scores is currently an old book score. And then finally, I've jumped up to 26th because my below average performance at the London Open's gone in, and then my RTT from last week, a couple of weeks ago. So I'm now up at 26th, overtaking Dara. I've achieved my goal for the season with 3 events and 345 points. I've got a couple of events coming up, so hopefully I'll continue to grow. I'm taking some less Mimi lists going forwards, but we'll get into that later on. And up next, ITC Team Red Path news. So not that much later on because the ITC Team Red Path member that was in action was me this weekend. I went to the London Open in the UK, in London, funnily enough. It was a 153 player super major. First time I've been to one of these. It is a UKTC event, but it's not considered one of the main ones. So it only really attracts local players, so London area and outlying counties. What that does mean is that it was basically a Shark Tank. It had a lot of the top players in the UK and a lot of the top players in the world. I think Manny Chima ended up winning. Vic VJ was there, Malik Rubio was there, as well as a lot of the players who sort of vie for that sort of, I guess, world top 50 probably. A lot of them ended up playing some of them. Great fun. Yeah, so it's a very competitive event, is what I was getting at there. Yeah, so in terms of games, I paired into one of the guys who runs the London Wargaming Guild, a really big community based just generally southeast of England, I think. Really lovely guy running some Blood Angels. It was a very melee list, so it was looking like it was going to be a very funny game. And it was for me. He made an early mistake that sort of cost him quite badly. I was able to heroic my face cap bloodthirster into some sanguinary guard that didn't charge, so I was able to kill them without taking any wounds in return. And I basically tabled him by turn 2. I think at the end of my turn 2, I went first, and at the end of my turn 2, he had a chapter master left on the board, and then deep struck in a chaplain, 10 terminators, and 5 van vets. And then I killed them all in my turn 2. In his turn 2, in my turn 3. Meaning that I tabled him by the bottom of my turn 3. Which it was honestly one of the most brutal games I've ever played. Um, it, yeah, yeah. Basically everything that I tried stuck, and I just got quite lucky. Face Cat Bloodthirst did a stupid amount of damage to stuff. Angron did the old charge the screen and then consolidate and tag the Desolation Marines, so I didn't really have to deal with them either. Yeah, it was just a really savage game. And then round 2, I paired into an Eldar matchup. All three. The signal in the hall was pretty bad, so I didn't actually get to look at his list from memory. There was some D cannons. There was the old Farseer on Skyrunner, a Wraithseer, which is the Forge World Wraith Lord thing. It's a Psyker character thing. Eldrad, of course. Baharoth, the Harlequins detachment that's going around at the moment. I think they were light though, so 2 min squads of troops, 2 of the boats, and a Shadowseer. Some Scorpions, a Solitaire I think was in there as well. That was funny. He charged some Berserkers very early on with the Blitz Solitaire and failed to kill them. And then they also fought on death and just brutalized him. And I didn't lose the squad, which was pretty big. But yeah, other highlights include dropping my Bloodletters down, them taking the Auspex from the D cannons out of line of sight, so it wasn't too bad. Especially with the 4-up save, I think I only lost like 3 of them. And then they failed the 3d6 drop the lowest 9-inch charge twice. That would have killed the game. It probably would have won it for me, like very convincingly. But I failed it twice, so that was good fun. I did still end up just about winning. I won 70-68. It was really intense, and it basically came down to the last roll of the dice. He had to, in his turn 5, all he could do to score was move Eldrad into range of the centre to try a Warp Ritual. Which relied on him getting a certain length advance, which he got, and then relied on him casting, which he did with the help of Fate dice, and then I scorned it and had to roll a 4-up, and I rolled a 4. So if he'd got that off, it was his first one, so he would have won 71-70, and he didn't, so I won 70-68. Really good game, really lovely opponent, really fun game. Then round 3, I paired into Julio Cesare Gamandi, I think his name is. He was the top Drukhari player in the world last year, I think, and certainly in the UK. It was really fun. It was a really good game, really fun game. It was really weird though because there were some whiffs on both sides. Like, I think he did more damage to his vehicles than I did. With his, because he was Dark Technomancer, so he was rolling a lot of ones and doing a lot of mortals to himself. And then and then I couldn't really capitalize because my Land Raider was like just not shooting at all. It didn't do any damage with las cannons until the last turn when he did 7 damage to Drazar and just wiped him out. But I should really have killed like probably both raiders before that point and hadn't done that until I ended up charging. Yeah. Anyway, without getting too much into it, it was a weird game. It was quite back and forth, and then he just nailed. This was actually the game where I sent. So this will be enjoyable, and I've told Dara this story. So I sent 5 Berserkers into a 5-man Harlequin troop unit. I killed 3 of them and lost the squad in return. I then sent a 5-man squad into those 2 Harlequins. He interrupted because I had to go somewhere else first. He interrupted and killed 4 Berserkers. They fought on death, and I killed 1 Harlequin. It wasn't a Harlequin troop leader or anything, just 2 normal Harlequins. I killed 1 Harlequin. That Harlequin was then able to jump out of combat onto my home objective and take it off me, which ended up nilling me on primary for like a turn or 2. The other part that happened unrelated in another part of the battlefield was I sent 5 Berserkers with +1 to hit and exploding 6s into 5 Harlequins and a 2-wound boat and failed to do any damage whatsoever with a squad of 5. So that was great. That's kind of like the level of whiffs that happened, and like it wasn't just me; it was on his side as well. But so it was just quite a funny game. Especially, it was kind of like exactly what I needed the last thing on Saturday. I did lose that. It was 66-92. But as I say, really fun game. Just funny. Like we're just laughing at each other's dice a lot. It was good fun. And then at 2-1 on Sunday. Sunday was a less good day. Spoilers. At 2-1 on Sun with quite a meme list on Sunday morning, I ended up going into Iron Hand Successors. It was a very good local player. He's won a couple of my sort of regular events, so like the major ones that I've talked about a couple of times. I've been to once, twice, a couple of times. He's won one of those. He's won some of the ones up by Rochester as well. Yeah, he's a very good local player. No Desolation Marines, but he had two Gladiator Reapers, 6 Landspeeder Tornadoes, and then like a Grav Melter drop pod thing, as well as like the Character Dreadnought, ways to make stuff hit on 2s and stuff like that, and exploding 6s to wound and shit like that. Basically, his list was very suited to killing big stuff, which I had quite a lot of. As I say, it was a lot of firepower. It was tied to conviction, so I had real trouble holding on to primary because, especially on the UKTC layouts, you have to be quite exposed to hold on to primary. So he just blew me away from the other side of the board. He did play it very well, to be fair. He stayed out of Angron's threat range for like pretty much the whole game. When Angron and the Thirster did get in, they did some damage, but it was it wasn't enough, basically. And I realised in this game more than the others that the Bloodthirster degrades pretty unpleasantly. So weapon skill and attacks, and it really takes the edge off his output. Which meant that so I sent him into a Gladiator Reaper, a Tech Marine, and the Character Dreadnought. When he was on like 4 wounds, and when he was full, probably could have killed all of them, but hitting on 4s less so. So I lost that one as well, 56-82. And by this point, I was still fine, like 2-2, 3-2 still on the table with a meme army. And then I, at 2-2, paired into a Space Wolf Successor army that had a lot of Desolation Marines. I mean, it was a game that was done. We just sped through it because it was very clear very early on. So I didn't go first, and he killed a lot of my army in turn 1. And it was very clear very early on that I was not in the game at all. Like at no point could I really compete. So it was just a 90-minute exercise in packing away my models, which was not that enjoyable. So I lost that one as well, 53-90. Our secondary's really doing work there. So I ended up 2-3. I think I finished 88th, which is the most important thing. There were some really good World Eaters players there as well. Alex Fowler finished 10th with a traditional Invocatus list. I think there was another list that had 3 Dreadclaws that finished like 15th. So they both went 4-1. I'm assuming the Dreadclaw list went first 4 times. Is what I'm assuming there. I might be wrong. If you watch the video, correct me if I'm wrong. But that list is built to alpha. So we'll just take a quick look at my list. As I say, it was a bit of a meme list. It has the potential to be decent. I definitely didn't play it properly. I realised later on the power of not going for the charge on Angron, just advancing Angron and then warp focusing in the Bloodthirster to make the charge himself. That was a funny thing that I did in one game that worked really well. So that'd probably be how I tweak gameplay. I'd also definitely drop the Land Raider and probably put some just more bodies on. It was nice realising partway through the first day that pretty much everything that wasn't a vehicle or a monster was OBSEC. Really nice accidental list building thing that just helped me play the game a bit. So I will get the list up because I've been talking about it. yeah, so Face Cap Bloodthirster with Argath King of Blades, so the damage 3 sweep. Bloodletters, yeah, because you have to. Glaive Lord for an extra bit of punch, although he failed to roll many sixes all weekend, which was, great. 2 squads, 10 Jackals, one with the icon. They were strat reserved in every game, and I just brought them on to snipe at things. Except the Iron Hands game where they came on to try and shore up a flank and then just promptly got wiped up by a wave of grab. Four squads, 5 Berserkers, 2 with icons. 1 of each of the icon squads went in the Rhino and Land Raider, the other squads filled out. 2 Spawn, a Land Raider with a Havoc Launcher, a Rhino, and then Angron. Yeah, I mean, I talked about this list a bit. I'm glad that I got the chance to run it. It was very fun when it worked, but as I said to my last opponent, it's very not fun when it doesn't work. So I'm probably going to leave that one for now. And definitely wouldn't take it to a GT again. I might take it to an RTT, maybe, if I get a chance. Or 10th, which looking like I probably won't. Yeah, so that's my list. If anyone has any questions about it, probably ask someone else who's run the list more successfully than me, because as I say, I don't think I played it to its fullest potential. And up next, we have World Eater Tournament performances. So 16 really strong performances this week, so finishing the top 15% of their events. So that's 16 lists will be going into the Matrix this week, which I will do again this week because we have 16 lists into it. I am going to be taking a look at the top 4 lists, so those that finished in the top 5% of their events. Those are the 2 arbitrary thresholds I've drawn, I guess. So up first we have Jose Correra, who went 3-0 at the Cierre de Liga. It looks like it was a capstone event for a local league. It was an event win at a 22-player RTT over in Chile. Yeah, I mean, Master of Executions with Berserker Glaive, a bit of a side grade, but sure. Invocards with no Warlord trait, only 10 Berserkers, a load of 8-bound, not that many 8-bounds, 9 8-bounds, 6 Exalted 8-bound, 3 Spawn, Angron, and a Trip Executioner Squadron with Precision Cruelty and Mirror Fates. But Precision Cruelty is the 6 to wound, do extra AP and extra damage. So damage 4 autocannons, or damage 4 AP3 autocannons. Pretty nice on 6 to wound. And then Angron, obviously, with his Warlord trait. Yeah, I mean, an interesting list. Interesting configuration of 8-bound. Potentially, yeah. An interesting configuration of 8-bounds. And then obviously Berserker Glaive on the Mo is interesting as well. Yeah. It doesn't feel like there's much in that list, but clearly it's gone quite well. That is a not inconsiderable amount of shooting at the bottom there. And I guess if everyone's shooting at Angron, they just get free reign. Be interested to know what terrain was like at that event. Yeah. That's cool. I guess the Berserkers and the 8-bound can move pretty fast. So with Invocatus. So yeah. Massive congratulations to Jose. 3-0, 22-player event. Pretty strong performance. Up next, we're back to the UK with Josh Holder at Kirtonian Carnage 23. So this was another event win at a 22-player RTT. So already Invocatus with his Warlord trait, 2 Master of Executions, a lot of Berserkers, 25 Berserkers, 15 8-bound, an Exalted 8-bound, a Hellbrute with a Power Scourge and a Las Cannon. Interesting choice. 3 Spawn and a Drill with Flamers. Yeah. I think there might have been, he might have been putting the 8-bound, some of the 8-bound in the Drill, because obviously the oversight that we have at the moment, which is 8-bound can go in Forge World Transports and only take up 1 slot. So there might have been a load of 8-bound in that Drill. Alternatively, all the Berserks have icons, so it might be that he just loaded up Yeah, no, actually, I guess pre-game move to the 8-bound squads. Fill the drill with berserkers, make 3d6 charges or a 3d6 charge out of it. Don't hate it. And then drills with blood tide buffs are just quite funny. So if you can bring it in late game once the 8-bound have started murdering stuff, that's just quite funny. Yeah, I mean it's good to see. Good to see drills still in circulation. People definitely seem to have gone off them a little bit. I mean, for a bit we weren't able to run them, but people definitely seem to have gone off them for a bit. Especially with the sort of indirect nerf to flamers that we got, which is just not having Let the Galaxy Burn anymore. Yeah, really strong performance again. Really, I unique list. Hellbrute with Las Cannons is a niche choice. And Power Scourge is obviously still really nice into the Marine meta. Yeah, so up next we've got Norman Werner. 3-0 at the Tournament of Contempt, and another event win at 26-player RTT in Germany. Yeah, so Invocator with his Warlord trait. 2 squads, 10 Jackals, both with Skull Smashers. 1, 2, 3, 4 squads of 5 Berserkers. Load of 8-bound, 15 8-bound, 3 Exalted 8-bound, 2 Spawn, and a Dreadclaw. And then, 2 War Dogs. 2 War Dog Executioners. Yeah, so worthy offerings again. Good. 5, 10. Yeah. So I'd imagine 8-bound going up with Invocatus. Probably Berserks in the Dreadclaw. Maybe more 8-bound. Who knows? Because there is that still. Yeah, I mean this is a fairly similar list to along the lines of what we've seen already, right? The interesting tech piece here is the Dreadclaw, which is obviously quite niche. The Executioners is also nice to see people still running them and doing well with them. I just need to roll better, I think. And I also stop fucking around with Bloodthirsters. But yeah, no, an interesting list, and it's good to see the two 10-man Jackal squads. I found that's probably something I'm going to try and fit into my next list. Is I found quite a lot of utility having 2 little squads that I don't think I would have had in a 20-man squad. So the one I had one starting on the board that was fine, and then I had the 10-man come on, and like they're really good for like sniping out characters or like screens and stuff like that. It was just handy. So finally, we have Charles Craig at the Huzzah Hobbies April RTT. So he went 3-0, and it was another event win, shocker. And this time it was a 30-player RTT, so a big one. Yeah, I mean, Invocatus, no Warlord trait. Big squad of 10 Berserkers, squad of 5 Berserkers, 4 8-bound, 2 squads of 3 Exalted 8-bound, 2 Spawn, 2 Dreadclaws, Angron, and a Great Brass Scorpion. This was the first list that I looked at this week, and I was like, sure, fine, why not? Like, sure. So the 2 Dreadclaws, one will have the Berserkers in, I'm imagining. The other one will have the, almost as if it was planned, 6 Exalted 8-bound and 4 8-bound in. You're going to hit some of those charges, and they're going to make a mess of stuff. And then it doesn't matter that you didn't hit the charges on the other ones, because they're dealing with the stuff that did make the charge. Like the Berserks are making the charge, and then you have 3, 5 other 9-inch charges. Like you're probably going to make at least 1 or 2 of them. So fine. I'm also going to assume you probably went first a fair amount. Good to see Angron. And then, I mean, even if you didn't go first, like you got Angron and the Brass Scorpion, and like some armies can deal with both. Like Iron Hands, like maybe can deal with both, but Angron and a Brass Scorpion coming at you is a thing that you're going to have to deal with, because again, it's the similar concept to the Bloodthirster thing. If one of those makes your lines, they're making a mess. So, and then you have the alpha of the double Dreadclaws as well, which is just funny. Yeah, so another really strong performance, another really strong week, in fact. So 16 in the top 15% of their events, really strong. 4 in the top 5%, is about right. And a 54% win rate overall. finally, just going to take a quick look at the unit matrix. So this is where I've compiled how many people took how many units, took which units and how many of each in the top list this week. So the arbitrary line I've drawn is top 15% of events. So that was 16 lists this week. So let's just take a quick look. Okay, so as per, well, a minimum of 10 Berserkers, minimum of 3 8 bound across every single list this week. There were, yeah, I mean, Invocatus was also incredibly popular this week. I think there was only one list that didn't take him. Similarly, there was only one list that didn't take Spawn, and that was the triple Dreadclaw list I mentioned earlier, actually, at the London Open. 11 lists with Invocatus Warlord trait, another 4 ran Angron. Is quite interesting that there's still one list that didn't have him. Yeah, good to see Knight allies still being quite prevalent. And 4 of them were executioner lists, so that's good to see. Demon allies did make an appearance. It was an Invocatus list that also had a phase cap Bloodthirster, so that's sort of best of both worlds in terms of the list that I'm looking at. It was good to see it doing well as well. I can see how it might work out. Yeah. So, I mean, it felt like there were a lot more. The unit choices that people made were a lot more condensed this week. So, as you can see at the top there, like loads of Berserkers, loads of 8-bound, loads of Exalted 8-bound this week as well. People running a lot of Berserkers this week. Like there were lists that had like 35, 40 in, which we haven't seen in a while. And Dreadclaws, at least one Dreadclaw making themselves, popular and apparent. And I know Dara is planning to paint one soon because he wants to be part of this problem, which is me talking about Dreadclaws. And then finally onto the great game. I mean, it's more of the same. I'm afraid we keep opening the gap ahead of Death Guard. So in last place at the moment, Emperor Children on 109. Thousand Suns are on 215. Death Guard have had a small growth up to 332. And then World Eaters are up over the 400 mark now. We're on 413 players for the season, which is massive considering we had 196 at the end of last season. So we have already more than doubled our player total, our player base, active player base, I should say. Active tournament player base, because I play tournaments. Which is good to see. Long may it continue. And I think it probably will, with the fact that we have, a book. So, yeah, plenty more tournaments coming up. I have a smallish RTT next Sunday now. I've got a cup game coming up, which is into newly nerfed Dark Angels, which is going to be quite funny, maybe. And I'm back to my Invocatus tryharding ways. So I'm running Invocatus in the Cup. I'm running Invocatus at my RTT next week. I still haven't decided what I'm running at first. It'll probably be Invocatus unless I can dry brush enough Desolation Marines. That's a joke. I'm not. Probably not hard pivoting to Marines. Probably taking Invocatus first, but I haven't decided yet. And I think the cutoff is like the Friday before the Saturday of the event. So sure. Dara will also be coming to that, so we'll have plenty to talk about after that. As well as, I'm sure, new box contents for the 10th edition launch. Good stuff like that. Yeah, if you want to organise, we're also trying to organise a meetup at Warhammer Fest, which will probably be food and maybe some drinks on, I think, the Saturday night, but I have lost track and I am not in charge of planning it. Dara has volunteered for that. So if you'd like to get in on that, join the Discord. There's a link down below. Pester Dara, please. Like, comment, subscribe on the video. Help us with those algo metrics, all that good stuff. Get us noticed. Yeah. Comment down below even if you disagree with me. There's some questions I have about some of those lists that, like, sure. Like, if you can tell me if you went first loads or not, that's something that I can't really see with the data I have access to. So let me know if any of you have watched that. Most importantly, though, stay healthy, stay safe, and kill, main, burn.